Hello, welcome to Crafting in the Night. My name's April, and in today's video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make these super cute heart blocks. Each block is made up of 3 different colors. There's a central heart color, a lining color, and then we finish off the block with a granny square type shape. So each edge of our granny square has 6 spots. Now, one of the cool things about this pattern is you could work it up in a variety of colorways, which I've done here. These are of course all themed for Valentine's Day, but you could do this in any type of color that you like. Let's get started with the tutorial. I made a variety of different colors and I was going for a Valentine's Day theme for this project, so you can see some different colorway options here. The only bad thing about these colorway options is they don't look great on video. To make the magic ring, I'll lay the yarn across the palm of my hand and hold the yarn down with my thumb and forefinger. Then I'll turn my hand and make an X, first right and then left. Now I'll insert my hook under the upper right leg, hook the upper left leg, pull through and turn as I come up. Now I can yarn over and then secure that down. Pull my tail out and here I have my magic ring. We'll want to chain 2. And into the magic ring, work a triple crochet. Now if you're an experienced crocheter, the pattern here is 3 triples, 4 doubles, a triple, and then reverse of that, 4 doubles, 3 triples, and a chain 2. Let's go through it. For the triple crochet, I'll yarn over twice, insert my hook into the ring, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I'll do that 2 more times. Now I'll place 4 doubles, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I'll do that 3 more times. Now we form the side of the heart, and we'll place a triple crochet to form the pointy edge of the heart. Now to make things symmetrical, we'll come up the opposite side using 4 doubles, 3 triples, and a chain 2. I've completed the 3 triples. Now I want to chain 2 and pull this magic ring closed, at least enough to get more of a heart shape. Make sure that I slip stitch into the ring over the tail and the center, the actual ring itself. So to slip stitch, I'm going to insert my hook and just yarn over and pull through both. Now I can pull this heart tighter, and when I weave in my ends, I'll go ahead and close up that gap, or you can leave it. It's completely up to you. Starting row 2, we're going to want to single crochet into the chain 2 space from the first round. So here's our chain 2. We'll want to single crochet into the space right in there. Insert my hook. Now, going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Into the top of the next space, which is right here, we're going to place 2 half double crochets and 1 double crochet. So for the half double, yarn over, insert into that spot, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, pull through all 3. Do that another time into the very same spot. And then finally into that same spot, I'm going to work a double crochet. Into the top of the next stitch, we're going to work 3 double crochets, all into the top of that stitch. And then 2 double crochets into the top of the next stitch. And now we'll work 1 double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. And when I say top of the stitch, I am going under both loops of the stitch. We've reached the pointy end of our heart. Into this stitch, we're going to work a double crochet, a triple crochet, and a double crochet, all into the same stitch. So double, triple, double. Up the opposite side, we're going to work the reverse of how we came down the left side. We want to do 4 double crochets, 1 in each of the next 4 stitches. And then 2 double crochets in the next stitch. Three double crochets in the next stitch. One double crochet, 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. And now we have our ending chain 2 space. We're going to place a single crochet in that space. Now we want to slip stitch back into our starting slip stitch. So this can be a little hard to see. We have our first single crochet here, and in fact we may want to mark that with the stitch marker so that you don't lose it, because it can be hard to see in the next round. So we want to put our slip stitch into the middle down here. If you're having trouble getting your hook in there, you can. It's in this little stitch here. If you're having trouble getting your hook underneath that, you can just go into the ring. Let's see if I can get in there. I can. So yarn over and pull through. I'm done with this light peach color now. So I want to cut a nice long tail so that I can weave in my ends. I'm just going to yarn over and pull that through. So here we have our first 2 rows of our heart. And if we pull our magic ring string, which is our bottom string, that'll close up some more. There we go. Let's get started with round 3, which is where we're going to introduce our dark peach color. To join round 3, I want to start with a slip knot. And I want to make sure that I have a long enough tail to weave in my ends later. I'll insert my hook. And again, into that same spot where we just slip stitched, we want to join this color with the slip stitch into the dip of that heart. So exactly where we finished off the last round is where we're going to begin this round with the slip stitch. We have our stitch marker showing where our next stitch should go. Our next stitch is going to be a half double crochet. So I'm going to remove my stitch marker And be sure that my stitch goes into that spot. And now I'll place a half double crochet into the top of the next stitch. And now I'll place a half double crochet into the top of the next stitch. Two half double crochets into the top of the next. One half double into the next. And I'll repeat that sequence of 2 1 2 1 two more times. So 2 half doubles into the next, 1 into the following, then 2, and then 1. Now we'll do 6 half doubles until we reach the pointy end of our heart. Get some more yarn here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In our treble crochet or triple crochet here at the base, we're going to go ahead and work a half double, double, half double. Half double, double into the same stitch. We're making a pointy end here, and half double again. Once again, for the opposite side of our heart, we're going to reverse the stitches. We'll do 6 half doubles all the way up the side. Now we want to do 1 double, 2 half doubles, and we want to do that 3 total times. Half double, 2 half doubles, half double, 2 half doubles. So we repeat that sequence of a half double and then 2 half doubles 3 times. Half double, 2 half doubles into the same stitch. Half double, 2 half doubles, half double, 2 half doubles. And now for the last 2 stitches, we'll do 2 half doubles. One into the top of each stitch. And we'll slip stitch back into the center. To close up. I'll cut a long tail again. I like nice long tails so that I can weave in my ends later and have enough yarn to work with. This is how we're looking after round 3. Let's get started with round 4. For the rest of the rounds, we'll be working all in one color, though keep in mind if you wanted to, you could change colors every single row. For row 4, I'll start again with a slip knot. And now we want to place our heart facing towards us, but we're going to be looking for the back loop. In each of the next stitches, we have our top 2 loops, and then we have a back loop. This is the back loop of the double crochet, but each of the half double crochets have this back loop, and that's what we're going to be working into for every stitch in this round. So again, we have our top loops, and then we have our back loop. We want to be sure we're working into that back loop because that's going to pop our accent color forward. We'll start by finding that middle double crochet at the base which is right here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. It's this stitch here. Start with a single crochet, inserting my hook under that back loop. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2. That's a standing single crochet. Now we'll continue by placing 2 more single crochets. Again, every stitch for this round is in the back loops. This is the only round where we're working in the back loops. Next, we'll do 2 half double crochets. If you're not familiar with working in the back loops, you'll want to take your time here. But depending on how you hold your heart, it'll be easier and easier to see them as you go. We'll want 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches. Two half doubles, 1 in each of the next stitch. Now we want 2 singles in the same stitch. So I'll do single crochet and then go back into that same spot and single crochet again. Then 1 single in the next stitch and 2 singles in the next stitch. Now we want a half double in each of the next 4 stitches. And then a double in the next stitch. Now we want a double in the middle. So again, you're going to try to find, if you can find the middle stitch, that's great. Now we're going to reverse for the other side of our heart. So double crochet, and this one can be a little bit tricky to find. You want to make sure you're looking at your first stitch and going into the back of that first stitch, which is right here, not the back of the next stitch, because that will throw your counts off. I'm going to double in there. And again, now we're just going to reverse. So half double in the next 4. Two singles in the next. A single in the next. 2 singles in the next. One half double in each of the next 2. One double into each of the next 4. Half double into the next 2. Single into the next 2. We'll finish this round by joining with the slip stitch to the top of our first stitch. So it looks like there's a stitch here there's not. We want to go under, kind of rotate it towards yourself. You can see the knot, and then slip stitch into the top of that stitch. If we take a look at the heart, you can see now how by working in the back loops, we've created this raised edge effect on that lining color. It kind of helps things pop out a little bit. To start row 5, again, we joined with our slip stitch. My recommendation is that you use your stitch marker again, just to mark that stitch. Let me close it up here so it doesn't fall out. And now let's work a single crochet into the next 2 stitches. What our goal is here is to now try to get this heart shape into a square. So this took a lot of trial and error, but I think I finally got one I was happy with. Half double crochet into the next, double crochet into the next. Now we're going to make our corner. To do that, we're going to work a triple crochet, chain 1, triple crochet all into the same space. I like to use a chain 1 because I feel like it keeps a tighter corner. If you prefer to do chain 2s for your corners, you could do that as well. We want to work a triple crochet into the next space, and then working up the side here, we want to work a double and half double in the same spot. So we'll place that double first and then the half double. Zoom out for you a little bit here. We're going to do a series of single crochets now. Single crochet into the next, 2 single crochets into the next, then 3 single crochets. Make sure you hit that very next stitch, that you don't skip over or your counts will be off. So 1, 2, 3, and then 2 single crochets into the next stitch. And now we're ready to work our next corner. This corner is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the same spot. That'll form our top corner. Half double crochet into the next. Now we want to place 11 single crochets just all the way along the top. Your 6th single crochet, you'll know if your counts are right if it is right in the stitch that you placed in the middle of your heart. And it is. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And now we'll place a half double crochet and a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet all into the next stitch to make our corner. Working the opposite as we did coming up this side, we're going to do 2 single crochets into the next stitch, 3 single crochets into the top of each of the next, 2 single crochets into the next, 1 single crochet into the next, a half double and double in the same space, half double, double into the same space, triple into the next space, and we'll form our corner with a triple, chain 1, triple into the next space. Now if we did this right, we'll have 4 stitches before a slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Work a double into the next, half double into the next, and then 2 singles, 1 in each of the next 2. Now I can remove my my stitch marker. I want to slip stitch into the top of that stitch. So I'll just insert my hook, yarn over, and pull through both loops. And that is the end of row 5. So what we've started to do here was create some length around the bottom of the heart where we can start to see the square shape forming. And similarly into the dips, we added some length as well. Let's get started with row 6. For row 6, we'll start by chaining 2, and then double crochet right back into that same space. Now we'll place 5 double crochets, 1 into each of the next 5 stitches, and that should get us at our corner. Here we have our corner space, and we need to continue to have length across the bottom, but we don't want any more width on the side because we want to try to get as square of a shape as possible, even though the square does turn out to be just slightly under a square, so it's 7 inches by 7.5. To do that, we're going to place a double crochet into the corner, chain 2, and then single crochet back into the corner. That prevents us from adding any height on this side. Now we want to make sure that we identify the correct stitch to single crochet into next. If you slide back the single crochet, there's a hidden stitch here. Sometimes you'll work into that in other patterns. In this case, we're going to just skip over that hidden stitch, but I wanted to make sure that you saw it. So that our next single crochet is actually into the top of the second stitch. So this is the triple crochet from our corner, and this is the triple crochet next to it. We want to place our first single crochet for this side into the top of that stitch, skipping over that hidden stitch. And now we want to place 11 more for 12 total single crochets. So that was 1, 2, 3, Now we're back at our corner, and we're going to reverse what we did down here. So we're going to place a single crochet, chain 2, double crochet. Again, we're going to skip this hidden stitch. It's actually not so hidden here. You can see it a little bit better, but we want to double crochet into the next. We'll do that 3 more times. And now we want to double crochet. So we've placed 4 double crochets after our corner. So we worked our corner, 4 double crochets. Now we want to double crochet 2 together, just because we have too many stitches up here. So we want to shorten it up. To do this double crochet 2 together, I'll yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, just like a standard double crochet. But instead of pulling through the next 2, I'll repeat that on the other stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I'll pull through all 3, and that's a double crochet 2 together. Work a double crochet into the top of the next 2 stitches, and then we'll repeat that double crochet 2 together across the next 2. Now we'll double crochet in the top of the next 4. Work our corner, which is the reverse of the other side, double crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Skipping our hidden stitch, we'll start single crochet into the next stitch, and we want 12 total single crochets. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If we've done our counting right, we're right back at our corner space. We'll single crochet into the corner, chain 2, double crochet, and this time we do not want to skip the first stitch or the hidden stitch. So we want to make sure that we're crocheting into the top of our corner stitch. We need to place 5 double crochets across the top, so we have to use this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll join with the slip stitch to the top of our starting chain 2. And that finishes round 6. So now, even though it doesn't look like a square shape, we do have the same number of stitches on all sides. Round 7 is our granny square round. Let's get started. To start our granny square round, we'll want to slip stitch across the top of the next 2 stitches. This just gets us in the right spot to work our first granny cluster. A granny cluster is 3 double crochets in the same space. For our first cluster though, we'll chain 2 and then work 2 double crochets into that same spot. Now we'll skip 2. Again, you need to make sure you're skipping the right stitches here. So skip 1, 2, and granny cluster into the next, which is 3 double crochets. Skip 2. That puts us into a corner space, and in the corner we want to work 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. There's 3, chain 1, 3 double crochets. Again, we have this hidden stitch situation, which is fine. We don't need to work into that stitch, but we need to remember to count it when we skip 2. So skip the hidden stitch, skip the next one, and granny cluster into the next. So as you turn around each corner, you'll want to remember that you do count that hidden stitch when you're doing your skip 2. Skip 2, granny cluster into the next. Again, skip 2. We're going to work with that corner, which is 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, remembering that hidden stitch is underneath this other corner leg. So skip 1, skip 2, and 3 in the next. Just repeat that all the way around, and I'll meet you back at our starting chain 2 to show you that slip stitch one more time. Here we are back around to the bottom. I've worked my last granny cluster, and you can see here we have our starting chain 2. Just going to join with a slip stitch to that starting chain 2. Now we're all done with this heart. And again, you don't have to block it. You could just join them together, or you could block it. Let's see how this one measured out. So this is without any blocking. We're still at 7.5 by 7. Oh, just under 7. And again, with the contrasting color, you can kind of really see that heart lining pops. If I had my druthers, I would have gone with a darker peach here. I wanted to show you that one of the things that I did with this heart is I decided that I didn't like this drop stitch into the middle. So you could try to drop that behind, but it's kind of difficult to find a spot in the back to drop that behind. And here's where my knot for my slip stitch was. So what I did when I weaved in my ends with the black was I just brought the tail up through and just kind of embroidered over it to make that dip disappear so that we had just the lining color. So that's one thing. If you like it, you can leave it. If you don't like it, you can cover it. I kind of did cover it in all of mine just so that it wasn't showing. But again, if you can get into that stitch on the back side, you can get work into the back and then not have to worry about covering it up at all. I thought some people might find it helpful for me to show how I weave in my ends, so let me do that really quickly. For the colors, you'll have 2 ends for each color. So I have my light peach here and my dark peach. For the light peach, typically the bottom one is going to be your magic circle. You just want to make sure to pull that closed as much as you can. And then what I like to do is knot them. And I just make a double knot. And similarly for my darker color, my accent color, I'll make a double knot. Now I don't just cut the ends. After that, I will weave them in. So let me show you how I do that. For the center heart color, again, I want to kind of sew that middle shut because I like a nice solid middle. So insert my hook into the side, and then I typically will make an X. So I'm up at the upper right, I'll come down the lower. And then I'm going to make sure that I'm not getting any of these tails mixed up in here. And normally I weave in this center color before I work the outer color. Now I want to come up this side. And down over here. So I've formed an X. I can pull that tight. Now I can continue weaving my ends. And what I do is weave them in a circular fashion under and all of these stitches here, trying to work into the middles. And I'll weave back and forth several times to secure them. Then I'll do the same with this tail, except that I don't need to sew the middle closed anymore. I can just weave around, and typically I'll go the opposite direction for that one. Now for the little bit of embroidery that I mentioned, I'm going to grab one of my tails. And again, if you have a longer tail, it's going to be a lot easier to do that. I'm just going to push this through to the middle. And I'm going to loop under this knot here and go back through. And then I'm not quite happy with this little bit that's still left, so I'll come back up under. And just try to cover that. Oops, my yarn dropped off my needle. There we go. And I'll go ahead and weave in my tails, and now that's nice and covered. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like button and let me know in the comments what colorways are you going to try this heart block in. Now keep in mind, I do have a blanket that I'm working on that uses this base block pattern, and I hope to have that released in the coming weeks. Until next time, keep calm and crochet on.